I just completed my first week of living in the school bus full time. It's been going really well. Staying at work actually has worked out great. Nothing really too shady happened. It's a little bit noisier there because people in the parking lot do maintenance on the vans in the middle of the night. So it can be a little bit noisy sometimes. Also, there was a random leaf blower that fired up at like 2 a.m., but who knows what that was about. It's just all maintenance stuff that they were doing for work. But anyways, I finally have an actual weekend. Looks like things are starting to lighten back up. My workload has been reduced again to something closer to normal. I'm still getting in about 1 day of overtime a week, but that's a little bit more manageable than doing 2 days of overtime a week, which is what I have been at. I'm actually just about at the end of my weekend right now, and it's just amazing how much stuff I've gotten done. I've been able to practice piano every day, although I don't know entirely what value that has, but it's kind of fun for now. I'll just keep after it. I still can't decide whether playing piano is fun or if it's actual future income or if it's just a crippling addiction. I just don't know. But whatever the case, I've been just limiting myself to about an hour and a half every day, just solid practicing, and I can make a lot of progress that way. And it's not taking over my life, so I'll just leave it like that for now. I also have been working on building a model of one of my boat designs. This is a stitch and glue design, so it's all stitched together with wires. I got all the parts cut out yesterday and was able to drill most of the holes. Yeah, as you can see up close, they're very tiny holes. But this is a scale model, and I wanted everything to be exactly the scale. So far, I haven't run into any issues with the instructions, and it's going along great. This is just a ton of progress for just a few days' work. I'm just getting so much more done now that I'm not driving 2 hours a day. And also, yeah, I mean, my finances are just so much better, not having to use my car or not driving so much. I still haven't sold the car, but hopefully that will be soon. But anyways, I'm headed out to get some water and refill my tanks. Hopefully I'll be getting my solar panel in later today, and I can really solve my refrigeration problem that I've been having. I just don't have enough battery power to run my refrigerator for an entire week at a time. So yeah, getting that solar panel is just going to be awesome. I had originally wanted to keep something simple and portable, so I could just charge it, you know, set up the solar panel outside the bus and charge my battery that way, but that's not going to work out with my current work situation. So instead, I got a flexible panel, which I know they're not entirely the best, but it's oversized for my application, and I'm going to be mounting that to the top of the bus. It should be a little bit of airspace behind it. Hopefully that'll help with keeping things cool. And in general, it doesn't get hot here normally, so I don't think it'll be too big of an issue. So that's going to be coming in later today, hopefully. I'm sure by the end of this video, you will know whether I got my solar panel in. I'm also clearly getting a lot better fuel mileage now that I have my fuel leak fixed. It's actually using a lot less fuel. Wish I knew exactly how much less fuel, but I forgot to reset my odometer last time I filled up, so oh well. I just reset it when I filled up this last tank yesterday, and it might be a while before I actually get the results because, again, this bus has a huge fuel tank, and I just don't drive it that much anymore. I'm mostly living in it in one location or another. So I can't wait to find out how much better the fuel mileage is exactly. It's just clear that it's a ton better. Well, I made it to the state park. I'm actually going to do a little bit of cleaning. They have a dumpster here so I can take some trash out before I fill up my water. But what I really wanted to talk to you today was, I've seen a lot of these I do not dream of labor videos showing up in my news feeds. Could be just that Google seems to know who I am, and so that's showing up on YouTube. But basically what it is, it's a lot of these tech workers, people that are in their, late 20s, early 30s, sometimes a little bit younger, but usually it's late 20s, early 30s, been working for these tech companies, regular 9-to-5 jobs, and they're extremely dissatisfied with their work. They're tired of getting treated kind of horribly by these large corporations. They get compensated. The compensation's usually okay, but the work is just terrible. The environment isn't great. Um, they're bored. They really want to do something else. For some reason, they always mention anti-capitalist stuff as well, although they don't seem to define exactly what that means to them. Because their solution is often, passive income, making money on YouTube, entrepreneurship, that kind of thing, which is about as capitalist as it gets, as far as I'm concerned. So I thought it was just kind of an interesting thing that I've been seeing a lot of lately, and I thought I'd just give my own quick thoughts on it. Completely unsolicited, of course, and done by a guy who's never actually worked in that environment, but I've applied for jobs. I used to actually perform in the middle of the Amazon campus quite regularly, and I've worked with people that have been in those types of jobs before and have quit. Well, that looks a lot cleaner, at least. So I think I know where this "I do not dream of labor" thing comes from. Uh, I'm the same age as most of these people. I'm a millennial. I'm 32. I grew up about a block away from Microsoft, and I grew up in the tech world. The initial .com bubble hit my area really hard. But I think, at least in my area, people knew that tech was the future. So when we were in school, uh, basically like most millennials, we were taught basically, you grow up, you do well in school, you go to a good college, and that will secure you a good corporate job. Then once you have that corporate job, then you buy a house, you have kids, and then you retire. That's the way things are supposed to work, apparently. Some of the older millennials, people that are, about 5 years older than me, they just barely made it work. But for anyone who graduated after 2008, that's not entirely what happened. So I know for myself anyways, part of the reason why I ended up not going that direction was 2008 was my sophomore year in college, and I couldn't get an internship. I was studying mechanical engineering, but there were no internships to be had. So we didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into in a lot of ways. I finished college. I already knew by the time I was done with college that wasn't really the path that I was on. I didn't want that corporate life. But I was also fortunate enough to have parents that were able to help me pay for my first time in college. So I was paying for my cost of living, but I wasn't paying for tuition or any of that. So because of that, I didn't necessarily feel as much pressure to just go out and take whatever job I could get. But, these corporate recruiters from places like Amazon, mostly Amazon, and also a lot of defense contractors were at the school that I went to. And they'd come up and, sell you this dream of, you're going to go live in this really nice location with all these super smart people, and, you're going to have tons of money because it's a big corporate job, and everything will be good. So for me, that immediately started sounding kind of like a nightmare. Also just the idea of, doing the same thing every day for, 30 years. And there didn't seem to be a lot of goal for a lot of these corporations other than just making money. I know a lot of the defense contractors I talk to, I don't necessarily have a problem with having a strong national defense. That's fine. I don't mind that at all. But the defense contractors, they were boasting about how they were, just doing stuff to get money from the government, like developing their own software, even though there was comparable software that already existed out there, just because the government was willing to give them millions of dollars, and just all these projects that served absolutely no purpose. But they were all proud and boasting that they were, scamming money from the government, basically. And it's just like, is this really what I want to be doing? Why am I, this doesn't feel like I'm actually contributing to the world in any sort of meaningful way. But yeah, you're making money. But I knew a lot of people that they felt like they didn't have a choice. They just needed that money to pay off their massive student loans that they had racked up. And it's actually understandable, at least from my perspective, why they decided to do this. So they went out and took these corporate jobs because, that's what was available. That's what they were told growing up. That's what they needed to do. And so, they just went straight. They were basically sold on that dream. They went out and got these corporate jobs, and um, the people that I know that took them, they were not happy, especially Amazon workers in particular. Since I live in Seattle, and Amazon was importing something like 15,000 people a month for a while there into the city. Just crazy numbers of people that they're importing, and they're mostly recent graduates, and they had 2-year contracts generally. And so they come to Seattle, work for Amazon for a couple of years, and just be like, what on earth am I doing with my life? um, Amazon, unfortunately, their management just doesn't treat their employees that well. And a lot of the projects, and they tend to, just expand for expansion's sake, not necessarily because they are trying to offer anything of better value or trying to improve the world in any particular way. But, people felt they put all this work into school. That's was the next logical step for them. Yeah, I mean, basically after a couple of years working there, usually once their contracts are done, they would leave and go to other companies, which is why places like Apple and Facebook and some of those other companies would set up a lot of outposts out there, out in Seattle, was to pick up these basically disgruntled former Amazon employees. But Amazon's definitely not unique in the way they operate. They're just happen to be the largest. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that there's this I do not dream of labor movement. A lot of people, even the ones that did leave, they just don't find a lot of meaning in their work. And I think that's where a lot of this I do not dream of labor comes out. Especially after the pandemic. I mean, these people, like most of us, we've been trapped at work basically for, the last year. And so, yeah, when you're stuck at work and you don't even have anything else to distract you particularly, yeah, I can easily see where they're coming from. I think actually a lot of their solutions to this are great solutions. A lot of people are wanting to make passive or semi-passive income either through YouTube or online businesses of various sorts or becoming self-employed. I think that's all great. I'm not really quite sure where this whole anti-capitalist message comes from, because I mean that's more capitalism than these corporations are. I'm personally, I don't think those corporations are all that capitalist. They try to destroy competition. They do a lot of really anti-competitive things, and that doesn't really work well for an actual capitalist society. So yeah, I see these people that are trying to do their own thing now, do something that they find valuable, try to find ways to actually contribute to society. I think that's great, and if they're able to make money doing that, that's really ideal. I think that's the goal for most people, is they want to feel like they're doing something valuable. And it's unfortunate that these corporations have decided not to go down that route. They just want to make money. They don't really want to do anything else. I do think there's also a component, just the level of work. There just really isn't a lot of work-life balance in a lot of these corporate jobs, and I've seen a lot of that. Think one of the traps that people are going to fall into, and I've already seen some videos of people who have done this, and I've basically done that myself, is you go out and start your own business of a sort, and basically you end up just kind of recreating the environment that you were in before. So you're just working nonstop, huge numbers of hours, and some of that, when you're first starting business, it's just kind of comes with the territory. But the problem is you have to keep your goal in mind, that that's not what you want to be doing. You don't want to be working huge numbers of hours, just doing stuff to make money, even when you're being self-employed. And I think that's the trap that a lot of people are going to fall into, is a lot of these projects they're working on aren't necessarily all that scalable. They're just creating new jobs for themselves, which is great. And I know for myself, like when I started my piano studio, that's basically what happened, is I created a job for myself, and for me at least, it's 10 times better than working for someone else. I'll take that any day. But at the same time, it was still just taking over my life, and think there's better ways of building a business than what I did. And I see a lot of people are they're headed that direction, or they've already done that same thing, and now they're trying to find ways to scale more, make money a little bit more passively. And I'm kind of in that camp as well. So I think for me, basically what I'm trying to do, and I think that's what a lot of other people are trying to do now as well, is I do have this kind of dream lifestyle in mind. I know more or less what I want to do. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm building my businesses and my career around that lifestyle. I'm gonna make sure that, I can travel in the bus, eventually back to sailing again. And, I think one of the problems that I was having with these online jobs I was looking at was, well, first, a lot of them are corporate jobs, and they don't like me that much. I don't really like them that much. But also a lot of these types of jobs require you to be connected, 24/7 to internet. And especially if I'm out sailing, and it's even been a problem with van life here. There I don't necessarily have that 24/7 connection to the internet, and I don't really want it either. I definitely like the environment where I'm building something, like my boat design. Like I spend time constructing a product, and then selling that product. So for me, that's the way forward for sure. I know there's other people like me out there that are actually doing really similar things. Definitely, I don't want anyone to get the idea that I want to stop working. I actually enjoy working. I think that finding ways of adding value to other people's life is, I mean, that's kind of the basis of work. You're adding value to other people's lives, and you get compensated for that. And so I think that's actually a really incredible thing. I have no interest in just not working. I don't dream of sitting on a beach doing nothing for hours on end. I get bored after like 20 minutes. I don't understand that. I also don't necessarily understand early retirement. Like I really like the FIRE community, the financial independence, retire early people. There's a lot I like about it. Putting in a lot of work up front, to reach your goals like that. I think that's awesome. I definitely, I mean, who doesn't want financial independence? Just having the financial resources to work on the projects that you want, I think that's amazing. But retirement, really, like even my grandparents that are in their mid 80s, they retired, but they basically went back and started doing work again. I mean, maybe not necessarily in the same capacity that they did before, but I mean, who wants to just sit around and not do anything? I just don't get it. I also just don't understand the idea of, spending your entire life working only to start actually doing things with your life once you're older. I just don't quite understand that either. I mean, there's stuff I want to do, but I want to do it while I'm still, relatively young and healthy. And I think it's more important for me to, build my life around what I want to do, not, work for someone else doing stuff I hate just to survive. I think that's the difference. And I think that that's kind of what I hear from these I do not dream of labor movements. It's not necessarily that they don't want to work, they just want work that fits in with their lifestyle, and they just want something a little bit more meaningful. And I think that's awesome. So, still not convinced on the anti-capitalist message. They don't even sound anti-capitalist to me, but whatever. I think for the most part we're on the same page, and I think most people are actually on the same page. It's just a matter of how do you do that? How do you go? How do you become self-employed and do the things you want to do, travel and all that, and still add value to other people's lives and get paid? Yeah, I have way too much trash. I need to take my trash out more often. Well, that's definitely looking a lot cleaner than it was. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a little bit better job about keeping this place clean. Should be easier now that I'm in the bus full time, but yeah, I got a little bit out of hand there. Well, I'm off to Seattle now. Just need to stop and fill up my water tank before I completely leave this park. It's a couple-hour drive, and all I'm doing is really picking up that solar panel. If anyone knows a good place where you can pick up packages remotely, and not just like Amazon lockers, like for larger packages, Let me know in the comments down below. I'd be interested to see if anyone knows how to do this, because I can easily pick up small packages. I know how to do that at Amazon lockers or at various other locations. But when it comes to bigger stuff, I can't figure out where to ship things. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. This is kind of seems like an unnecessary 2-hour drive. Ooh, I happen to be driving past my storage unit on the way to Seattle and wanted to check, make sure I had title and both sets of keys to the car. That's everything I need to sell the car, so we're good to go there. I just have to make sure the finances work out, and then I can get this car out of here. So I was able to get the solar panel. I'm using a double-sided sticky foam tape. This is like serious stuff, not just the cheap stuff. This is the permanent kind of thing. And it's adhesive, of course, so you have to make sure all the temperatures and pressures are right. So you have to make sure the foam is pressed down onto the surface of the solar panel correctly and make sure everything's very clean, so the adhesive is sticking to the thing that you want it to stick to, not random pieces of dirt or oil or grease or anything like that. So I have that solar panel is just about ready to mount. I'll probably mount it a little bit later this evening. So I just wanted to tell you what I've been wanting to do with this channel pretty much all along. Basically, I just wanted to show people that it's possible to do this van life basically without being a wealthy corporate employee or without having that kind of background, because I definitely don't have a lot of money, but I'm still making it work really well. This entire thing is stuff that I've done with my own money. I haven't borrowed money. I haven't taken money from my parents to fund this project. I hope people see what I'm doing and are inspired to see that they can actually do it themselves. And I'm sharing, the process of starting new businesses, basically things that are actually sustainable to make my lifestyle work. And I'd like people to see that process and learn from my successes and failures. I just also want people to know that, if you quit your corporate job to become self-employed, just make sure that you're not just recreating the same environment that you wanted to leave, because that's, pretty much all you know. You have to make sure that you know what you want, both financially, both what you're offering to your customers, and you need to know what kind of business that you want to run, whether you actually want to run a very hands-on business where you're just on all the time like you would be in a corporate environment, or whether you want something a little bit more passive where you have more freedom, more opportunity to step back, which I think is more of what people are looking for. Well, I have that solar panel installed. Tried my hardest to get it in straight, but with only one person, the solar panel was just too long. So it is just slightly crooked. It's okay. You can't even see it from anywhere except the air, and it's not that far off, but still, it annoys me. But whatever. It's on there. It's on there permanently. Once it got stuck, there's nothing you can do. It's like a permanent bond. Got the roof super clean, and so I'm really happy. I have power. I can run my refrigerator, hopefully pretty much indefinitely. We'll see if it shuts off in the middle of the night. It might. It should power on again during the daylight if it does, but I don't know for sure. I know I need to upgrade my power supply station here. But as long as I can keep this more or less working, we're going to go with that. I have groceries for the week, so I'm not going to be buying food every day like I was, and definitely nothing prepared. So I can actually start cooking for myself again. This is just an awesome situation, and I really couldn't be happier with what I'm doing now. That's it for me today. I'm going to be probably focusing mostly on getting my businesses built up right now so I can travel. I think that really should be my primary focus, and I'll keep you guys updated on how things are going. So I will see you on the next video.